Imagine if the gut-wrenching terror that relentlessly gnaws at your insides had the power to salvage someone dear to you, an utterly petrifying thought that sends icy chills down your spine. This chilling premise propels us into the labyrinthine universe of Echoes of the Abyss. Now let us acquaint you with our hero, John, a man whose spirit is as unyielding as an ancient monolith, heavily laden with debilitating fear for a close friend who has mysteriously vanished. His spirit, however, is as resilient as hardened steel, propelled by an unwavering determination to unearth the truth and reveal the horrifying reality concealed beneath layers of deceit. John's ongoing worry for his friend is a crushing weight that he wears like a cloak. It's a consuming fear that claws at his sanity, every tick of the clock echoing the dreadful possibility of his friend's peril. His heart is bound in the cold chains of uncertainty, the growing dread for his friend's safety a constant haunt. He embarks on a perilous journey into an ominous forest where the darkness is a living, breathing entity, as dense and impervious as pitch. It swallows him whole, its monstrous limbs reaching out in a macabre waltz as if to consume him. The forest seems to pulse with malevolent intent, its intimidating aura of fear and doubt threatening to suffocate him. The eerie silence is only broken by the rhythmic thump of his own heart, a loud echo in his ears. Each breath he takes is a desperate gasp, the chilling frost of dread permeating the air around him. Yet he stubbornly persists, pushing further into the hostile shadows, his eyes straining against the oppressive darkness that obscures his path. This fear within him has taken a life of its own, a parasitic entity burrowing beneath his skin, whispering grim prophecies of doom into his ear. Yet he defies its incapacitating power. He endures the ethereal glow of the moon, serving as his solitary beacon in this terrifying dance with fear and darkness. Every step he takes is a testament to his resilient spirit and unwavering resolve. He acknowledges that he must face the nightmares lurking in the shadows, the cold whispers bouncing off the abyss's sides. He realizes that his fear, albeit a paralyzing burden, might also be the key to decipher the mystery enshrouding his friend. It's a perilous journey, fraught with danger lurking around every corner. And so we step into Echoes of the Abyss, a realm where fear morphs from a mere sensation to a palpable force, a territory thriving on the paradoxical interplay of terror and hope, darkness and light, a realm where your deepest fears may hold the key to salvation. Undeterred, he continues forward, the ghostly light of the moon his only guide in this sinister dance of shadows and dread. The biting wind wails through the skeletal trees, stirring the leaves into a rustling symphony that seems to whisper warnings in the haunting silence. The forest groans in menace around him, amplifying his fear, yet he pushes on, deeper into its. Each leaf that rustles seems to whisper a deadly secret into John's ear, a chilling promise of impending doom. Every twig that snaps shatters the thick silence like an unseen gunshot, its sound a ghostly echo that sends shards of icy fear cutting deep into his marrow. With every step he takes through the dark, labyrinthine trails of the grim forest, an invisible noose of terror tightens around his neck. The pathways twist and turn like the serpentine coils of a monstrous, living creature designed to ensnare and disorient him. The silence of the forest is deafening, a suffocating shroud that wraps around him so tightly he can barely breathe. It is a silence so heavy that it seems tangible, only broken by the distant, ominous roar of water cascading down unseen cliffs. Within this oppressive silence, the delicate rustling of leaves begins to sound like the slithering of hidden serpents. The whisper of the wind through the skeletal trees becomes the chilling sigh of unseen specters. They form a symphony of dread, a haunting soundtrack to his escalating fear. Each note a sinister echo, each roar a blood-curdling warning of the danger that lurks in the shadows. His own heartbeat is the only other sound he can hear, its frantic pounding in his ears serving as a grim reminder of his vulnerability. His memories, once filled with laughter and whispered secrets, now echo ghostly and menacing through the caverns of his mind, their once comforting sounds morphing into spectral wails. Each memory is a flickering beacon in the stormy sea of his fear, a ray of hope amidst the encroaching, all-consuming darkness. These once cherished recollections now serve as stark reminders of all that he stands to lose, of the devastating fate that awaits him should he falter. With each fearful thought, with each moment of trepidation, his determination hardens, his fear transforming into fuel that propels him deeper into the heart of the... John's heart hammers within his chest. the violent drumbeat of growing fear amplifying with each step he takes towards the dreaded abyssal stride. The forest, once a sanctuary of peace, is now pulsating with an unmistakable aura of malignancy. Each leaf seems to tremble in anticipation, each vine recoiling as though repulsed by unseen terrors. The air is heavy and oppressive, thick with whispered threats that echo ominously through the gnarled trunks, rebounding off skeletal branches that reach out like the twisted fingers of the damned. The words are hazy, indistinct, yet they carry an undeniable promise of impending doom, a dissonant symphony of chilling warnings. Every step John takes feels like a hellish descent into the maw of madness, each footfall echoing his sanity's precarious dance on the precipice of oblivion. Finally, he casts his eyes upon the ominous spectacle of the abyssal stride. The turbulent waters below roil with a fury that is almost sentient, a vortex of inky blackness that thrashes with tales of ancient shrouded horrors. The cliffs, monstrous and looming, plummet into a bottomless pit, the water gnashing against the rocks in a frenzied dance of destruction, reminiscent of the gnashing jaws of some monstrous behemoth spawned from the darkest corners of a nightmare. From the unfathomable depths emerges a figure so grotesque that it challenges human comprehension. A creature of distilled malevolence, a hideous hybrid of man and beast, a living nightmare born from the deepest bowels of hell. Its hollow eyes, devoid of any semblance of life and filled to the brim with malice, draw him into their vacant gaze. Its skeletal arms, tipped with claws that resemble twisted, rusted iron, reach out, aching to drag him into the eternal abyss. Each gasping breath John draws catches in his throat, his lungs desperate for air as he comes face to face with the bone-chilling reality of the abyssal stride. It's more than just a waterfall, it's a gateway of unspeakable terror. The creature, bathed in an eerie, unholy light, lunges towards him. John finds himself ensnared in its hypnotic gaze, his mind screaming to look away, but his body betraying him. He can icy aura seeping into his skin, slithering into his soul, tainting his very essence. Every pound of his heart echoes his terror, pulsating in rhythm with the monstrosity that looms before him. The grotesque figure is the manifestation of his deepest, most primal fears. In the heart-pounding conclusion, John's courage is pushed to its absolute limit. A fiery trial of metal, or more accurately, a face-off with a terrifying beast from the depths. His heart, thumping like a frantic percussion instrument, beats a haunting melody of dread and expectancy. His battle cry, a force of nature in its own right, resonates through the stillness, echoing his defiance as he heedlessly plunges into the chilling, pitiless embrace of the abyssal stride. His mind is a vortex of terror and determination, thoughts wrestling with numbing fear, the nightmarish image of the creature's razor-sharp teeth and the terrified expression of his fallen comrade flicker ominously in his mental panorama. He shoulders the harrowing burden of a sudden understanding, the chilling prospect that he may disappear forever into the icy, forsaken waters he has dived into. Emerging from the deathly, cold grasp of the abyss, he gasps for breath like a man starved of air, his body bruised but obstinately defying the touch of the grim reaper. The aftermath of his struggle reverberates in the smothering silence that encircles him, the remnants of his terrifying encounter still echoing in the unnerving quiet. This silence transforms into a frozen shroud, a spectral symbol of the savage beast lurking in the murky obscurity of the hellish creature he has fought and might have to face once more. Each chilling touch of the water, every painful gasp for breath, and the constant struggle against the pull of the abyss is etched in every fiber of his being, a testament to his extraordinary courage. Your presence here at Echoes of the Abyss is greatly cherished. We're momentarily stepping back into the shadows, but hold your breath and keep your senses on high alert, for we'll soon re-emerge bearing more tales that will frost the lifeblood in your veins and leave you teetering on the cliffhanger of suspense. To make certain you don't lose track of our nightmare-drenched chronicles, ravenously click that subscribe button on our channel. As we momentarily dissolve into the ether, engrave this bone-chilling truth deep into marrow. Not all echoes fade into the silence. Some persist, their spectral resonance vibrating in the deafening hush, an arctic reminder of the hidden malevolence that lurks in the shadows. These echoes, they skulk in the silence, whispering their grim tales of the unobserved, the uncharted, the void that thrives in the murkiness of the unknown. And within this abyss, perhaps a monstrous creature slumbers, biding its time to rise once again, its terror-inducing screams forever imprinted on these haunting echoes. Until our paths intertwine once more, remember this: the echoes of the abyss are not mere whispers in the wind. They are the echoes of the beast, the lingering horror that is ever vigilant, ever waiting. Remember, the echoes of the abyss are not to be dismissed with they are harbingers of the unknown, footsteps in the dark, a chilling lullaby that dances on the edge of your nightmares. So tread lightly, for every echo carries a tale of the abyss, and its echoes never truly. As John surfaces from the murky woodland, the eerie echoes of the abyss stubbornly clutch onto him, feverishly whispering grotesque threats that caress his ear in rhythm to his pounding heart. These whispers are not mere words, but vivid nightmares shaped into sound. Tales of death, of loss, and of unimaginable dread that resurface his darkest fears. The tranquility of the night is violently disrupted, each echo shattering the silence like a spectral hammer, each one a terrifying ghost of the horrors he's just left buried in the wilderness. His heart pulsates in his chest, each beat a frantic echo of the relentless whispers that scrape against his sanity, threatening to topple it over the edge into the abyss of madness. The echoes multiply, their monstrous promises mutating into a symphony of impending doom. They form a cacophony of bone-chilling winds, each word sending electric shivers racing down his spine, the surrounding air seeming to morph into shards of ice. As he quickens his pace, finds himself a desperate man fleeing from the relentless mental torture of these abyssal echoes. He strains to suppress the echoes, to drown them with his own thoughts, but they are unrelenting, their bone-chilling threats penetrating his mind, infecting and rotting his thoughts with overwhelming terror. He claps over his ears, a futile attempt to erect a barrier against the spectral echoes that have invaded his mind with merciless precision. As he stumbles further from the echoes of the abyss gradually fade, their chilling whispers slowly devoured by the pitch-black night. But their words persist, a frigid reminder of the unspeakable evils that lurk within the forest's heart. These echoes of the abyss are not just sounds, they are haunting voices of the unseen, the unnatural, the abyss that skulks in the shadows. As John leaves the forest behind, he carries with him the echoes of the abyss, a spectral reminder of the omnipresent terror that lurks in the darkness, silently watching, ever waiting. John, quivering with exertion and horror, sighs as the resonating echoes of the abyss gradually dissolve into the pitch-black night. His heartbeat, previously thundering like a war drum within his ribcage, begins to slow. The illusion of safety momentarily pacifies his frayed nerves. But just as he dares to harbor a spark of hope, an earth-shattering guttural snarl abruptly shatters the tranquility. The beast has returned, its monstrous form more grotesque and chilling than before. With a roar that reverberates through the stillness of the night, echoing ominously, the beast lunges at John. Its eyes, glowing with a predatory hunger, are twin fires in the darkness. John, spurred a primal, bone-deep fear, bolts. His breath comes in ragged bursts as he hurtles desperately through the enveloping darkness. The beast, relentless and merciless, is hot on his heels. The hollow thud of its colossal paws, like the pounding of a death knell, echoes in the night. John can hear the beast's savage snarls growing louder, each sound a chilling testament to the nightmare nipping at his heels. His heart is a wild drum in his chest, the adrenaline pumping through his veins, lending him a burst of desperate speed. But the beast is relentless, its monstrous form a terrifying reminder of the abyss that waits in the darkness. Just when he feels his legs about to give way, a clearing looms in the distance. With a surge of desperate energy, John sprints towards it. As he stumbles into the clearing, he collapses, his body racked with exhaustion and terror. As he gasps for breath, a chilling realization descends upon him. The beast is an omnipresent specter, always watching, eternally waiting. The echoes of the abyss were not mere threats, but solemn promises. Promises of an unyielding terror, ever ready to pounce from the shadows. With a heavy heart, John understands that he can never truly escape the beast. It will always be there, lurking, ready to strike. A monstrous embodiment of the abyss that waits, ever ready, in the darkness. Even after escaping the forest, John finds himself relentlessly pursued by the haunting echoes of the abyss. His dreams, once a place of solace, have now become a battlefield, invaded by monstrous forms that seem to rise from the darkness itself. These grotesque creatures, their bodies twisted into forms of unimaginable horror. chase him through the labyrinth of his nightmares, their guttural roars stealing the tranquility of his sleep and jolting him awake in the harrowing cold hours of the night. His days are no refuge either. The rustling leaves now sound like the beast's heavy paws, each footfall a thunderous reminder of the terror he escaped, crushing the underbrush and echoing in his ears. The wind, once a comforting whisper, now carries veiled threats as it dances through the trees, a sinister ballet that leaves him on edge. Every shadow seems to hide one of the monstrous forms from his nightmares, their grotesque bodies ready to jump out at him. Every silence feels like the calm before the storm, a quiet that feels pregnant with the promise of a terrifying roar that could shatter his peace at any moment. He finds himself flinching at the slightest noise, his heart pounding in his chest like a war drum as he wrestles with the terror that has sunk its claws into him. John tries to forget, to bury the horrors of the abyss in the deepest, darkest corners of his mind, but they refuse to stay buried, seeping into his life in the most unexpected and terrifying ways. A simple walk in the park is no longer an enjoyable pastime, but a nerve-wracking ordeal. Every rustling leaf, every shadow becomes a chilling reminder of the beast that lurks in the shadows of his mind. The night sky, once a canvas of beauty and wonder, is now tainted by the inky blackness of the abyss, the stars twinkling like the merciless eyes of the beast, watching and waiting. As he tries to move on to reclaim his sanity from the clutches of the abyss, a chilling realization dawns on him. There is no true escape from the echoes of the abyss. They will always be there, lurking in the corners of his mind, ready to plunge him into the depths of terror at the slightest provocation. As he stares into the darkness, he understands with terrifying clarity that the abyss is not just a physical place. It is a state of mind, a dark and twisted mirror of his own terror, a chilling reminder of the darkness that waits, ever ready to pounce, forever part of him.